I'm going to take you through a step-by-step process of what it looks like to have a water loss at your home and how crew can help you with this issue. So imagine you come home after having a night out with your family and you realize that a pipe has burst in your lower level. There's a fair amount of water down there. The carpet is squishy. You can see water on the ground and such. So your first call is to crew. Clearly, we are all set up for 24/7 emergency response all the time, every day, holidays, weekends. It doesn't matter what time it is, we are there. So a crew employee, depending on what time of the night it is, we'll be there within 30 minutes to an hour. Once we get on site, the first thing we do is assess the damage. Second thing we do is stop and mitigate any further damage. So if there's still water flowing, things like that we can stop, we're shutting off the water. We're probably calling a plumber if possible that night. If it's not necessary and we can just shut the water off, bring them in the next day, that's best. Once we assess the damage, we're gonna start extraction. So we're gonna get all the standing water up out of whatever materials that it's in. Now, depending on the level of water, may have wicked up walls, ruined trim, doors, things like that. At this point in time, we're just stopping any further damage from happening. That's our goal. So what we do in the middle of the night especially is we are 100% stabilization. That's a word that you will hear a lot about. And what that means is getting any standing water up, stopping any further damage, setting equipment that night. We just want to make sure that we're not causing any more damage to your home that has already occurred, so we're going to stabilize everything. Then the next day, we come back in, reassess, make sure that there's no additional mitigating damage, make sure that our equipment's running properly, everything is working in its favor, and then we'll start assessing what needs to come out of the home. Clearly, if there's flooring that needs to come out, that might happen first, but we'll be moisture metering every wall, any possibility of any water touching any surfaces, especially depending on what category of water it is, will tell us by IRCRC standards what needs to come out. That is key to our entire process. All of our guys are IICRC standard licensed. Therefore, that is the governing body that tells us, depending on what category of water is, what has to come out and what those standards are. So once we get there the next day, we are also working with you to make sure whether this is an insurance claim or not. Most of the time, when you have an emergency water loss in the middle of the night, it is an emergency claim. The key to that is it's got to be sudden, right? If it's sudden and accidental, chances are it's an emergency claim. You have coverage on your home, which we assume that you do. So then we'll start talking about who your insurance agent is, who your insurance company is. We'll help you through the process of calling your adjuster, calling your agent, and getting a claim filed. That's what we do. We do it all day long. We are 100% in sync with the insurance company during the entire process. We use the same estimating software that they do. We know all of their protocols, their standard insurance protocols. Every insurance company pretty much has the exact same protocols. Mitigate immediately to stop further damage, dry out as soon as possible to make the claim, less time period to make it less intrusive on your life. Once we get everything established, what our protocols are, what our steps are moving forward, then we start the demo process. Once we're done, the dry out process should take, depending on the severity of loss, somewhere around 3 to 6 days, depending on how much demo, how much drying, things like that. There are thousands of factors that go into this time period, but let's say it took all 6 days. So then we're at our dry standard, and dry standard means exactly that. A standard that is dry in your home, because they vary on the opposite part of your home that was not affected. That is your dry standard. We're gonna bring that standard into humidity levels, moisture levels into the affected area. Once those are simpatico within a standard deviation, we have dry standard. Once we have dry standard, we're gonna start working with your insurance company on all the rebuild process and what that's going to cost. But we can really start the rebuild process as long as we have an agreed to price with the insurance company. At that point in time, the insurance company will be cutting you what's called an ACV check. That means actual cash value. And what that means in layman's terms is if you have, let's say they valued your property that was damaged at $100,000 and they deemed it to be 50% depreciated because of its age, they are gonna cut you a $50,000 check once we agree to it, and then at the end of the process, they're gonna cut you another approximately $50,000 check. That second check is called an RCB check. That check is without the depreciation, and it's got any change orders and supplements, things like that, additional work that we couldn't see in the initial stages that we've agreed to your insurance company. The crew that cares is there with you throughout the entire insurance process. We do this every single day, and we'll be there for you till the end of the project until you have a smile on your face.